Good afternoon and welcome back to my video on a journey into the mind. Once again, it's been a while since I recorded anything. Today, however, I would love to speak a little bit about human behavior. Why do people repeat the same behavior over and over again? What is it in the mind, in the subconscious mind, that drives someone to act the way they do, to conduct a behavior and repeat it over and over again? During my years of learning about life coaching, there is one thing I learned that I believe was very, very important, and that is you do not control a behavior, an action, a thought, or an emotional experience by doing only one or two coaching sections or by doing therapy one or two, three times. It is a consistent action that needs to be done in order to overcome the fragments of the past memories or dogma that remains in the mind and forces us to act the way we do. For example, an alcoholic, a person that drinks and has that habit, may go for treatment, go to AA, and then go to a party where people are socializing, and he sees alcohol, and something in his subconscious mind triggers, and the smell of the alcohol makes him want to go and take a drink. Do you know how much effort it takes not to do that? A lot. The same could happen if a person smokes. If you're a smoker and you see somebody smoking, immediately that thought of the pleasure you used to get when you had that cigarette will come back. That is imprinted, is in the blueprint of your subconscious mind. It's something that you will never forget, and is there. It's there to remind you to control yourself when you have to. That is, if you have the willpower to do that. Now, think about people who are predators. They are child molesters. And there is something in their behavior that drives them to do that. Have you ever thought of the possibility that such behavior is something that either they learn in the moment that the mother was impregnated, moment of gestation, or was it something that they learn in their behavior, in their sexual experience or sexual development that someone else taught them by touching them or doing something to them that's inappropriate? Let's take it to the embryo and realize that if a child is afraid or exhibit a certain behavior, it is already in the DNA. We inherit the behaviors of our parents, of our ancestors. And sometimes we need to go deeper than the idea that perhaps this person is corrupted or this child is developing. We need to get to the roots of what causes that. Where did they learn that behavior? What happened? What kind of experience did they have that drove them to where they are, to want to touch a boy, a girl, an innocent child? Have you ever thought about that? Some of this behavior is inherited and others are learned. I'm not a clinical psychologist, but I understand a lot about how people behave because I'm an observer. I like to observe what's happening and what is developing within a child or a human being behavior in order to understand, what's going on. Now, going back to the coaching, some people believe that, oh, you go to a professional coach and you pay them a lot of money and therefore you should be able to be treated and, things are fine and you're not feeling that emotional and it's a better day. You go on with your business and you make million, you advance. However, when that moment comes, what is the reaction? 99% of the time, it is the fact that that illicit behavior is going to return. And in order to avoid it, you must continue to do coaching, to do therapy, and to observe your own behavior so that you know what to do and what not to do. There is an example of a person that used to talk about one of his parents abusing them and, being very emotional and crying. And, oh, every time this person spoke about that event, they cry. And then you have the case of a person that has similar experience and can speak about that event and not have any emotional reaction. Now, does that mean that this person has no feelings, no emotions, that they have blocked completely that emotional response about that particular event? No. This simply means that the person is now healed from that emotional happening and they can now speak about it without having an emotional reaction. Because chances are that if you are not healed from something that happened to you in the past, you will continue to feel that pain, that emotion, those tears, and you will go there. You will go there. I learned through a professional coach how you can go through a depression if you let yourself, and how to also get out of that depression if you recognize mentally and emotionally where you are at the moment and exhale from that mental state of being to a control state of being or thinking. Everything is possible with the mind. And that is why I am so curious about learning what is it that makes us behave the way we do? What is it that makes people react as they do? Why are some people more prone to do certain type of unpleasant behavior than others? Are they not capable of controlling their mind? Or are they driven by emotion? Could be either one. Some people can control themselves if they're smokers or drinkers or have a desire that they know they cannot do, and others have no control over their emotional reaction. And that is beautiful. This is what drives people to commit sexual abuse against children, to do the things that they do that they think it is okay to murder and to torture someone without conscious awareness of what they're doing. They are driven by emotions that are the blueprint of their behavior. While some can control, others cannot. There is a point in life when we get to a state mentally that we are capable of recognizing so many things outside our perimeter and inside as well, like the people we socialize with and what is going on the outside world. Do you know that it's capable for someone to be able to have insights about events, cases, and circumstances happening today without practicing any particular profession? Or perhaps they have minimal experience in a particular profession, but the fact that they have a question in their mind and they remain silent, they're capable of obtaining that question from a higher state of conscious being. An answer that you ask and you don't even know and you don't remember because it's been more than 30 years since you have any connection to the questions you have, and be able to have the answer. That is called divine blessing. Because if we remain silent, we're capable of perceiving information from divine spirit. And people think that we are either agitating or doing something that we're not supposed to do or instigating. No, my friend, there is a higher power that has more control over our lives than we do. And if you hang on to that, you will have the answer to all of your questions. They say that Einstein, Tesla, and many other geniuses were capable of obtaining the answers to their questions when they were doing discoveries because they had the capacity to remain silent after they ask a question and be able to receive the answer. Now, that is beautiful. Why is that beautiful? Because we have to be able to understand that the capacity of the mind is higher than what we can give it any value for. That we are capable of knowing the unknown just because we can connect with divine spirit. The conscious mind in us, the quantum world, the mystery of divine spirit are things that we cannot explain with words. We have to experience it by ourselves. I love the fact that sometimes you may ponder upon a question. In an unexpected moment, there is a repetition of a word and you try to figure out, why is this word coming to mind? What does it mean? Because I cannot remember from past studies or lessons or learning or books that I read the meaning of that. And it comes precisely as the perfect answer to your question. Now, ponder on that one. The next time you have a question, remember how the power of your mind has the capacity to recognize things outside of you, to be an observer, to be silent, receive answers, and to know the unexpected. Thank you for listening. This is Frances from A Journey into the Mind. Have a wonderful weekend. Love and light.